You're listening to the Faeries and Folklore podcast by Ronel. I'm dark fantasy author Ronel Janse van Vuuren. With nearly a decade of digging around in dusty folklore books, researching creatures of imagination that ignited my curiosity, I'm here to share the folklore in a nutshell and how I reimagined it for my writing in An Origin of the Fae. This is the Faeries and Folklore podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Ronel Janse van Vuuren. You can just call me Ronel. In today's episode, we're continuing our exploration of the Fae realm. This episode is brought to you by my Origin of the Fae book series. You've met them on the podcast, now see them in action. Go to ronelthemythmaker.com/Origin of the Fae series for more. And remember, that's Fae with an AE. You can now support my time in producing the podcast, researching, writing, and everything else involved by buying me a coffee. This can be a once-off thing, or you can buy me coffee again in the future at your discretion. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Ronel to support me. We're continuing our exploration of the workers of death. Today's fairy, Davy Jones, Folklore in a Nutshell by Ronel. It seems that Davy Jones is the more modern version of the ancient Scottish sea god Shoni, for both the briny deep is where they keep the imprisoned drowned. Shoni, though, expected certain things from those who dared go on the sea. Some had to offer him ale once a year, usually on Samhain, to make sure the fish could be caught and that seaweed would wash out on the beach. And of course, there was the human sacrifices he liked. From yearly sacrifices where every ship had a crew member's throat slit before being thrown overboard, to shipbuilders strapping a man to the bottom of the logs used to launch a new ship. It was a bloody affair. Davy Jones only seemed to expect people to not be rescued when they fall overboard, as he has a quota of drowned souls he needs to collect for his locker. By either name, this Fae is bound to the sea and death. And now for my interpretation of the Fae, in An Origin of the Fae, Davy Jones. Once known as the Celtic sea god Shoni, Davy Jones has moved from just terrorizing those on the ocean to wherever he is needed. Bringing moral judgment on mortals and half-fae alike, Davy Jones and his skeleton crew that mans the Flying Dutchman roams the mortal realm, bringing madness, despair, and death to those deserving of it through their dishonest, cruel, or criminal ways. He usually looks like a bearded sea captain from the 17th century, but can appear as he wishes. His victims go to a part of the other world ruled by Fae, who specialize in torturing souls. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Faeries and Folklore podcast and that you've learned something new about fairy. Remember that you can get a transcript of this episode in the description. If you're new to the podcast, why not go and grab your free copy of Unseen, the second book in the fairy tale series, on my website, ronelthemythmaker.com. Loads of folklore, magic, and danger await. Take care.